Maya had always believed that kindness was the world's most undervalued currency. Unlike money, it cost nothing to give, but was worth everything to receive. As she sat in her small apartment, counting the few bills in her wallet for the third time that week, she realized that her financial constraints didn't have to limit her ability to make others happy. In fact, some of the most meaningful gestures she'd ever received hadn't cost the giver a single penny. That morning, as autumn painted the city in shades of gold and crimson, Maya decided to embark on a personal mission. She would spend the next month demonstrating that kindness without money could be just as powerful, if not more so, than any expensive gift. Little did she know that her simple acts would create a ripple effect that would transform not just individual lives, but an entire community. Maya's first stop was the local coffee shop, where she'd been a regular customer for 3 years. Behind the counter stood Marcus, a young barista whose usual bright smile seemed dimmed by exhaustion. Maya had noticed that he'd been working double shifts lately, probably struggling to make ends meet like so many others in their neighborhood. "Marcus," Maya said as she approached the counter, "I've been coming here for years, and I want you to know that your genuine warmth and the way you remember everyone's order makes this place feel like home. You have this incredible gift of making people feel seen and valued. Thank you for being such a bright spot in this community." Marcus's tired eyes immediately lit up. His shoulders straightened, and the genuine smile Maya remembered returned to his face. "Thank you, Maya. You have no idea how much I needed to hear that today. I've been wondering if what I do here really matters." "It absolutely does," Maya assured him. "The way you greet Mrs. Chun every morning in Mandarin, how you always ask about Tommy's soccer games, how you make sure Sarah gets her coffee exactly right even when she's too stressed to be polite. These things matter more than you know." As Maya left with her coffee, she noticed Marcus's entire demeanor had changed. He was standing taller, smiling more genuinely at customers, and there was a new energy in his movements. She had given him something invaluable, recognition and validation of his worth. The power of genuine compliments, Maya reflected, lay not in their cost, which was zero, but in their authenticity and specificity. Generic praise felt hollow, but when you took the time to notice and acknowledge someone's specific qualities or contributions, it could literally change their day, and sometimes their entire perspective about themselves. Maya's next opportunity came when she encountered her elderly neighbor, Mr. Rodriguez, struggling with grocery bags outside their apartment building. As she helped him carry the bags, she noticed he seemed particularly downcast. "How are you doing, Mr. Rodriguez?" she asked, and instead of the usual polite response, she genuinely waited for his answer. "Oh, Maya, I'm managing," he said with a heavy sigh. "It's just, today marks 3 years since my Elena passed away. I went to visit her grave this morning, and the grocery store was playing that song we used to dance to in our kitchen." Silly old man, crying over a song in the produce aisle. Maya set down the groceries and gave Mr. Rodriguez her full attention. "It's not silly at all. Tell me about Elena. What was she like?" For the next hour, Maya sat with Mr. Rodriguez on the building's front steps, listening as he shared memories of his late wife. She didn't offer solutions or try to cheer him up with platitudes. She simply listened, really listened, nodding at appropriate moments, asking gentle questions that encouraged him to share more, and allowing comfortable silences when he needed to collect his thoughts. She used to say that listening was love made audible, Mr. Rodriguez said finally, wiping his eyes. "Thank you for listening, Maya. I feel like I've been carrying these memories around with no one to share them with. Having someone truly hear about Elena, it makes her feel alive again, just for a moment." Active listening, Maya realized, was perhaps the most generous gift one person could give another. In a world where everyone seemed rushed, distracted by phones, or eager to share their own stories, the simple act of giving someone your complete, undivided attention was revolutionary. It cost nothing but time, yet it provided something precious: the feeling of being heard, understood, and valued. Inspired by her interactions, Maya spent her evening crafting handwritten thank you notes. She wrote to her mail carrier, thanking him for always handling packages with care and leaving cheerful notes when deliveries couldn't be completed. She penned a note to her child's teacher, expressing gratitude for the extra time spent helping struggling students. She wrote to the custodian at her office building, acknowledging how his attention to detail and friendly greetings made the workplace more pleasant for everyone. The next day, Maya made sure to personally deliver each note. The reactions were profound and immediate. Her mail carrier, Robert, paused mid-route when Maya handed him the note. After reading it, his eyes welled up with tears. In 23 years of delivering mail, no one has ever thanked me like this. I keep letters returned to sender, packages that get damaged, complaints about late deliveries. But this reminds me why I love serving this community. Mrs. Patterson, her son's teacher, clutched the note to her chest after reading it. Maya, teachers rarely hear when we're doing something right. We usually only hear from parents when there's a problem. This note is going on my classroom wall to remind me on the tough days why I chose this profession. Even more touching was the reaction of James, the office custodian. "Miss Maya," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "Most people walk past me like I'm invisible. But you see me. You see the work I do. This note, my wife's going to frame it." Handwritten notes possessed a power that digital messages couldn't match. They represented time invested, thoughtfulness applied, and permanence in an increasingly temporary world. The physical act of writing by hand somehow transmitted more sincerity than typed words ever could. Each note became a tangible reminder that someone cared enough to sit down, think about the recipient, and create something personal just for them. Maya's fourth approach to free kindness came through identifying small ways she could help others without any monetary investment. She began paying attention to the minor struggles and inconveniences in her daily environment. When she noticed that Mrs. Kim next door was having trouble reaching her mailbox due to a recent hip surgery, Maya began collecting her mail daily and bringing it to her door. When she saw that the new family across the street was struggling to understand the neighborhood's recycling schedule, she created a simple chart and left it with a welcome note. At work, Maya started arriving 10 minutes early to make coffee for the office, knowing that her colleague Janet struggled with morning energy due to caring for her newborn. She began staying an extra few minutes after meetings to help stack chairs and clean whiteboards, noticing that the conference room setup was always left for the administrative staff. One rainy Tuesday, Maya noticed that several students at the nearby school were waiting at the bus stop without umbrellas, getting soaked. She couldn't afford to buy umbrellas for everyone, but she could offer something else. She approached the group and used her own umbrella to shelter two younger students while engaging them in a cheerful conversation that made the wait seem shorter and less miserable. "You know," said one of the students, a girl named Lisa, "my mom always tells me that when someone helps you for no reason, it means there are still good people in the world. Thank you for being one of the good people." Maya's throat tightened with emotion. She realized that these small acts of service did more than solve immediate problems. They restored faith in human goodness and created a sense of community connection that was increasingly rare in modern society. Perhaps the most valuable commodity Maya could offer was her time and undivided presence. She discovered this when she encountered her coworker David looking overwhelmed and stressed during lunch break. "David, you look like you could use someone to talk to. Would you like some company?" Maya asked. David looked up gratefully. "I'd appreciate that, Maya. I'm drowning. My mom's been diagnosed with early-stage dementia. My teenage daughter isn't speaking to me after our divorce, and I'm trying to keep up with work while managing everything else. I feel like I'm failing everyone." Maya didn't try to fix David's problems or offer solutions. Instead, she simply sat with him, allowing him to share his fears, frustrations, and feelings of inadequacy. She offered tissues when he teared up, moments of comfortable silence when he needed to collect himself, and gentle questions that helped him process his emotions. "You know what the hardest part is?" David said after a while. "I feel so alone in all of this. Everyone's dealing with their own stuff, and I don't want to be a burden." "David," Maya said gently, "you're not a burden. You're a human being going through incredibly difficult circumstances. The fact that you're trying to handle all of this while still showing up for work and caring about everyone else shows what a good person you are. You don't have to carry everything alone." By the end of their conversation, David's posture had relaxed, and some of the tension had left his face. "Thank you, Maya. I can't remember the last time someone just listened. Really listened. I feel like I can breathe a little easier now." Maya learned that presence, true, attentive presence, was one of the rarest and most precious gifts in modern society. In a world of constant distractions, multitasking, and surface-level interactions, giving someone your complete attention was a radical act of kindness that cost nothing but meant everything. Maya realized that everyone possessed knowledge, skills, or talents that could benefit others, regardless of their financial situation. She began looking for opportunities to share what she knew. When she discovered that her neighbor's teenage son, Alex, was struggling with math homework, Maya offered to tutor him twice a week. She had always been good with numbers, and though she wasn't a professional teacher, she could certainly help a struggling student understand basic algebra concepts. "I can't pay you," Alex's mother said apologetically. "Money's tight right now." "I'm not looking for payment," Maya replied. "I remember how frustrated I felt when I didn't understand something in school. If I can help Alex feel more confident in math, that's payment enough for me." Within a few weeks, Alex's grades improved, but more importantly, his attitude toward learning changed. "Maya makes math make sense," he told his mother. "She doesn't make me feel stupid when I don't get something right away. She just explains it a different way until it clicks." Maya also began sharing other skills. She taught Mrs. Chun how to use video calling software to connect with her grandchildren who lived across the country. She showed her colleague Jennifer how to create simple spreadsheets to organize her family's busy schedule. She helped her elderly neighbor, Mr. Rodriguez, learn how to order groceries online when mobility became difficult for him. Each skill shared created a multiplier effect. Mrs. Chun began helping other elderly neighbors learn technology. Jennifer shared her new organizational system with other busy parents. Mr. Rodriguez recommended the grocery delivery service to other seniors in the building. Maya discovered that knowledge shared was knowledge multiplied. Unlike physical resources that diminish when divided, wisdom and skills grew stronger when passed on to others. One of Maya's most impactful realizations was that many people in her community were lonely not because they were unlikable, but because they lacked opportunities to connect with others who shared their interests or circumstances. She began paying attention to the people around her, noticing their interests, challenges, and needs. Then she started making connections. She introduced Mrs. Rodriguez, who was learning English, to her neighbor Janet, who was a retired English teacher looking for ways to stay engaged. She connected David, who was caring for his mother with dementia, with her co-worker Sarah, whose father had gone through the same diagnosis and who had learned valuable coping strategies. Maya noticed that several single parents in her building were struggling with childcare during evening work shifts. She facilitated a conversation that led to them creating an informal babysitting co-op, where they took turns watching each other's children. She organized a monthly skill swap gathering in the building's community room, where neighbors could teach each other various abilities: cooking, basic home repairs, gardening, language practice, computer skills, or any other knowledge they possessed. "Maya," said Jennifer after the third skill swap gathering, "I've lived in this building for 5 years and barely knew anyone's name. Now I have friends, I've learned how to fix my leaky faucet, and I'm teaching others how to bake bread. You've created a real community here." Maya realized that loneliness was often less about being physically alone and more about feeling disconnected from others. By facilitating connections between people, she had helped create a support network that benefited everyone involved. Maya began to understand that gratitude, when expressed thoughtfully and specifically, was a powerful form of kindness that required no financial investment but created tremendous emotional wealth. She started a practice of expressing gratitude not just for big gestures, but for the small, often overlooked contributions people made to her daily life. She thanked the security guard who always greeted her warmly, the cleaning staff who maintained her office building, the bus driver who waited an extra moment when he saw someone running to catch the bus. But Maya's expressions of gratitude went beyond mere politeness. She made them specific and meaningful. To the security guard, "Thank you, Miguel, for always greeting everyone with such genuine warmth. Your smile is often the first positive interaction people have when they enter this building, and that matters more than you might realize. To the bus driver, I noticed you waited for that elderly gentleman who was moving slowly yesterday. That small act of patience probably made his entire day better. Thank you for treating passengers with such kindness. To her hairdresser, thank you not just for the haircut, but for creating such a welcoming space where people feel comfortable being themselves. You have a gift for making people feel beautiful, inside and out. Maya also began writing thank you notes to people who had impacted her life in the past, former teachers, mentors, friends who had supported her through difficult times. Many of these notes reached people who had no idea their actions had made a lasting difference. Her high school English teacher, Mrs. Williams, called Maya after receiving her thank you note. Maya, I've been teaching for 35 years, and I've often wondered if I've really made a difference in students' lives. Your note came at a time when I was considering retirement and questioning whether my work mattered. Thank you for reminding me why I became a teacher. Maya discovered that kindness could extend beyond human interactions to include care for the shared environment, creating positive experiences for everyone in the community. She began small, picking up litter during her daily walks, not just her own, but any trash she encountered. She noticed that when she maintained a small garden area outside her apartment building, other residents began contributing too, creating a more beautiful space for everyone. Maya organized neighborhood cleanup days, not as obligations, but as social gatherings where neighbors could work together while getting to know each other. She provided homemade lemonade and created a festive atmosphere that made the work feel less like a chore and more like a community celebration. She started a little free library box outside her building, stocking it with books she had finished reading and encouraging others to take books and leave books. The library became a gathering point where neighbors would stop to chat about their latest reads. Maya also began creating small environmental gifts for her community. She collected wildflower seeds and scattered them in neglected areas around the neighborhood, creating unexpected patches of beauty. She painted inspirational messages on rocks and left them in places where people might need encouragement, near the bus stop, outside the unemployment office, along walking paths. You know, said her neighbor Tom, I used to walk through this neighborhood with my head down, just trying to get from point A to point B. But now I find myself looking around, noticing the flowers, reading the painted rocks, seeing the beauty that wasn't here before. It's changed how I feel about living here. As weeks turned into months, Maya began to notice something extraordinary happening. Her acts of kindness were inspiring others to act with similar generosity, creating a ripple effect that extended far beyond her individual efforts. Marcus, the barista whose confidence had been restored by Maya's genuine compliment, had begun implementing a pay-it-forward board where customers could leave encouraging messages for each other. The coffee shop had become a hub of community positivity. Mr. Rodriguez, who had been comforted by Maya's listening ear, had started a weekly storytelling circle for elderly residents in the community center, where seniors could share memories and life experiences with younger generations. David, who had been supported through his family crisis, had organized a support group for other single parents dealing with aging relatives and family challenges. The students Maya had sheltered at the bus stop had started their own kindness club at school, looking for ways to help classmates who were struggling. Even more remarkable was how the kindness had spread to people Maya had never directly interacted with. The handwritten notes she had given were being shared and discussed. People who had benefited from her skill sharing were teaching others. The connections she had facilitated were creating new connections. Maya realized that kindness without money wasn't just about individual acts. It was about creating a culture of caring that could transform entire communities. 6 months after beginning her kindness mission, Maya hardly recognized her neighborhood. The apartment building buzzed with friendly interactions. Neighbors regularly checked on each other, shared resources, and celebrated milestones together. The monthly skill swaps had evolved into various interest groups, a book club, a cooking circle, a tool-sharing network, and a childcare cooperative. The local coffee shop had become a community bulletin board where people posted offers to help, requests for assistance, and celebrations of good news. The little free library had multiplied into several boxes throughout the neighborhood, each one fostering connections between strangers who became friends through shared literary interests. But perhaps the most significant transformation was in Maya herself. Through focusing on others' well-being, she had discovered a sense of purpose and community connection that no amount of money could have purchased. Her financial situation remained challenging, but her life felt rich with meaningful relationships and a sense of contributing to something larger than herself. "Maya," said Jennifer during one of their weekly coffee dates, "I've been thinking about how different life is now compared to 6 months ago. I used to feel so isolated, even though I was surrounded by people. Now I feel like I'm part of something, a real community where people care about each other. And it all started with you deciding to be kind." Maya smiled, remembering her initial goal of proving that kindness didn't require money. She had proven her point, but she had discovered something even more valuable, that kindness was not just something you gave to others, but something that came back to you multiplied, creating abundance that no bank account could measure. Lessons learned: the 10 free ways to make someone smile. Through her journey, Maya had identified 10 powerful ways to spread kindness without spending money. Give genuine, specific compliments. Look for authentic qualities to acknowledge in others, being specific about what you appreciate and why it matters. Practice active listening. Offer your complete, undivided attention when someone needs to be heard, without trying to fix or judge. Write handwritten thank you notes. Take time to acknowledge people's contributions with personal, written expressions of gratitude. Perform small acts of service. Look for minor ways to help others in their daily lives, solving small problems or inconveniences. Share your time and presence. Offer companionship to those who are lonely, stressed, or going through difficult times. Teach skills and share knowledge. Use your abilities and experience to help others learn and grow. Create connections. Introduce people who might benefit from knowing each other, fostering community relationships. Express thoughtful gratitude. Go beyond politeness to offer meaningful acknowledgement of others' contributions to your life. Care for shared spaces. Contribute to environmental beauty and community well-being through simple maintenance and improvement actions. Inspire others to pay it forward. Model kindness in ways that encourage others to act with similar generosity. Maya's story demonstrates that the most valuable things in life, connection, purpose, community, and joy, cannot be purchased. They must be created through intentional acts of caring, one interaction at a time. The ripple effect of her kindness continues to spread, touching lives in ways she may never fully know. Each person who was encouraged by her actions went on to encourage others. Each connection she facilitated led to new connections. Each moment of listening inspired others to listen more carefully. Each expression of gratitude encouraged others to notice and acknowledge the good in their own lives. Maya had set out to prove that kindness, without money, could make people smile. She discovered something far more profound, that kindness without money could transform hearts, build communities, and create a legacy of caring that would endure long after the initial acts were forgotten. In a world that often seemed to measure worth in dollars and cents, Maya had demonstrated that the most valuable currency was freely available to everyone: the choice to treat others with genuine care, respect, and love. Her story serves as a reminder that each of us possesses the power to create positive change, regardless of our financial circumstances, and that sometimes the most meaningful gifts are the ones that cost nothing at all. The true magic of Maya's journey was not in the individual acts of kindness she performed, but in the understanding that kindness is contagious, kindness is creative, and kindness, when practiced consistently and authentically, has the power to transform not just individual moments, but entire communities and, ultimately, the world itself. As Maya continues her daily life, she carries with her the knowledge that kindness without money is not a limitation, but a liberation, freedom from the belief that caring for others requires wealth, and the recognition that the most precious gifts we can give each other are freely available to us all: attention, compassion, time, presence, and love.